So here's what I mean when I say Travis Kelce is the best player in football. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about quarterbacks because they affect the game more than anything else. And some guy here, Sammy K, on the YouTube chat page is just going nuts. No one would ever take Kelce over Mahomes. Well, I didn't have time to explain that. I'm separating all players from the position of quarterback. But here's what I mean about Kelce. Travis Kelce is a better tight end. Who do you think is the 49ers single best player at whatever position? Is it Trent Williams at tackle? Is it Nick Bosa at defensive end? Travis Kelce dwarfs the both of them in terms of talent in his position than theirs. And here's what I mean by that. Let's say tomorrow we are assembling. We have a time machine. So we can literally go back in time to pull any player from any era. Mars has put together a football team, and Mars is going to be playing whatever football team we put together for the right to all of our souls. The starting 11 can be debated at least 10 different positions, except for one offensively, in my mind. Travis Kelce will be the best tight end the history of football has ever seen. He is, and even if he statistically isn't, or ring count isn't, I don't care. The way he dominates a football game is so unstoppable week to week, no matter who the opponent is, no matter what the situation. What stops Travis Kelce? I don't know. Obviously not football teams. Obviously not defenses. You can't stop him. He is 1,000 times better at being a tight end than any Niner is at their job, whatever that job is, right now in that building.
I would prefer to define it this way. The gap between him and the second best tight end is wider than at any other position.
I would agree.
Because as great as Mahomes is, and he is indisputably great, Josh Allen is fairly close.
Right.
And
look, and then if you want to play the all-time game, you still got Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, who seem to be very much on the downside of their careers after this week. But all-time, sure. You want to get Montana on me? Sure.
I'm just talking about the right now.
Yeah.
Because you can make a case that Antonio Gates was a better tight end at his time than Kelce is now. But I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Let's just talk about the here and now. The difference between Travis Kelce and whoever you want to put in second, whether it's Kittle or TJ Hawkinson or whatever, is just wider than it is at any other position. And I think that's the clear delineation. It's that if you have Travis Kelce, you have an advantage at that one position that no other team's going to have.
Somebody named Condor's Sword or whatever his terrible handle. Anyways, said, you're taking Kelce over Tony Gonzalez? Yes, I'm taking him over Gronk. I'm taking him over anyone. He's the best tight end I've ever seen. And I'm taking him over George Kittle every single day of the week, and so is every Niner fan. George Kittle is great at cutting a WWE-style promo where he screams into a microphone about how it's National Tight Ends Day. And he'll have a few games where he looks really good, and then he won't be found for the better part of a month. I can't explain that. Travis Kelce's the Incredible Hulk. His non-touchdown, the one with offsetting penalties in the first quarter where he basically he got rocked at the goal line, but then he just stuck his arm out and reached the ball over the goal line. It didn't even count, but he's like, yeah, I would have scored right here. I mean, the guy's just unstoppable. He's unstoppable. Mahomes let one bad pass go yesterday, that floater that looked like it was an up-for-grabs ball. Nope, because it was in Travis Kelce's direction. And he's over there boxing guys out, catching the ball, sun in his eyes. Doesn't matter. He's a magnet for the football. He's special, special, special. So here's what I want to... Here are my big impressions. Biggest impressions, Ray, from yesterday's game. Number one, Andy Reid is the best coach in football. The man put on an absolute clinic. He destroyed DeMeco Ryans. He embarrassed Kyle Shanahan. He used Nick Bosa's aggressiveness against him all afternoon, and not a single counter move was made to the moves that he was making. I'll say this. Christian McCaffrey has a gear that makes him special. I think that's pretty undeniable. I was surprised there wasn't even more of him in that game, especially in the second half when you're trying to get it back. I was really surprised. But he's good. He's special. And I'm telling you right now, and I've been saying this since week one, Talanoa Hufanga, whatever it is, kid's got it. He's special. Amazing concentration on that interception. Fantastic. Travis Kelce was my fourth observation. We already went over him. I'll say this. George Kittle feels like he got his quarterbacking best friend back just a little bit. They're starting to turn the same page together now, so it looks like they're back on the same chapter, which is good for the 49ers. It didn't come out with enough production yesterday to get them over the hump, but it looks like George Kittle and Jimmy Garoppolo are getting back in sync together. That's good. It needs to happen. Mike McGlinchey. I just wrote down random things all day here, Ray. I'm just emptying the notebook. Mike McGlinchey, I don't know how much of a truly trusted agent he ever really was, but I'm sorry, right now he's drifting towards liability. I'm sorry it's coming to this point, but it seems to be coming to this point with Mike McGlinchey. He just isn't who 49ers fans hoped he would be, wanted him to be, who his coaches hoped or wanted him to be. He isn't. And I'm going to tell you right now, Trent Williams got so popular in just the last 6 months or so, he's bordering on overrated. I know he's just coming off injury. He gets a wide berth because of how good he really is. I can promise you that Andy Reid talked about using Nick Bosa's momentum against him in the run game. And I can also promise you, when the 49ers saw that that's what Andy Reid was doing, they decided, we're not going to do anything about that. We're not going to have Nick Bosa take a heartbeat and instead of just going 2 ears pinned back towards Mahomes, maybe play outside contain a little bit more, or wait for the screen that was being run right at him, or the several running plays that were literally just designed to then occupy the hole that he vacated because he never stopped coming off the line like a bull in the china shop, to the point where Nick Bosa had such a hard-on to get to Patrick Mahomes yesterday. He got called for being offsides twice on consecutive plays. I've never seen that one before, ever. But it happened to Nick Bosa yesterday, and we know that Bosa's great, but he got way too in his, this is the way I'm playing today. I'm not making any adjustments to my game. And Andy Reid saw that, counted on it, and destroyed the edges that he was vacating. Destroyed them. That's where Andy Reid's entire game plan was, on the edge. The entire game plan. Every running play, every screen play, everything that he had them doing basically that worked tenfold. The McKinnon touchdown, but the huge pickup, he didn't score the touchdown, but the huge, 3rd and 20, and he picks up 28 or whatever it was, that was just right where Bosa had been. The touchdown in the corner, that was right where Bosa's been. McCole Hardman's first rushing touchdown, right where Bosa has been. It was like the 49ers defensive coaches were committed to making no adjustments to the game that was happening in front of them.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure about that part, but I'm not a schematic football guy. But I do know this much. When you have a guy who's getting basically attacked the way they attacked at Bosa's place, the way the 49ers do with Aaron Donald, it works all day long unless the guys near Bosa are doing more than they were doing. Because you could still have him going, bat out of hell toward the quarterback, because I think they clearly wanted to try to terrorize Mahomes as much as they could. But it's not a one-man position. It's the defensive line requires full participation. And while he was getting taken out of the game, nobody picked him up because nobody else was a factor either. So I think it was not just scheme. It was them being a little banged up, them not having Eric Armstead. I think in general, the defensive line got handled both schematically and physically. And that doesn't usually happen with them.
They were missing Dre Greenlaw, who is there to clean up a lot of things coming off of Bosa's hips. And look, I'm not saying that Nick Bosa is a problem. Nick Bosa is the best football player that the 49ers probably have. But yesterday, his momentum was used against him, and not a single person on that 49ers coaching staff got in his ear and said, well, let's do something a little different. And Andy Reid, I don't know if he was counting on that, but why would Andy Reid do anything different when it's working all day? And once again, we had example after example where things started to work for Kyle, and he immediately started doing something different. I don't know why you would do that. I wouldn't know. Why don't you stick with what's working until it ain't working? I'm surprised by that. In the final analysis, the 49ers got absolutely no help at all from their special teams. They certainly didn't get it done in the red zone, and they got completely undressed. One coaching staff over another. All three phases of the game, offense, defense, special teams, the 49ers aren't even on the same lecture circuit that the Kansas City Chiefs dominate. The Chiefs outscored the 49ers 44-13 after Kyle got his 10-point lead. And I'm not saying Kyle went to sit on the ball, but in that second half, did anyone see a no-huddle offense at any point in time? Did a no-huddle offense happen at all yesterday? We haven't installed one of those yet? No? Is that too cute? Maybe wait for the bye week? We'll worry about the no-huddles then? How do you not have a no-huddle offense? I don't understand that. How? Do you think Andy Reid would ever go into a game without a no-huddle offense? Who's the worst coach in football? Nathaniel Hackett. Do you think Nathaniel Hackett doesn't have a no-huddle offense?
He doesn't have a quarterback.
Well, he doesn't have I don't know what he's got. Maybe that's a bad example. But I don't understand. 49ers got one pace. Slower than crap. That's the pace that they play at. Oh, we're going to go ahead and we're going to pick up 8 yards. But on the next play, we're going to go ahead and give back 3 yards. And then on the next play, we're going to go get 4 yards. And so now, between all of that, we still have to pick up about 4 more yards. But, it's fourth down. It's time to punt again. It's just death by paper cuts. Do something. Danny Gray, he lines up offsides. Very next play, they finally go ahead and give him the ball, but he didn't catch it. So now he gets to live the rest of his life in Kyle Shanahan's doghouse. We might not see him until week 14. I don't know why, but that's the way it's going to go. Deebo Samuel, let me just ask this. I'm not trying to criticize anyone, but I'm just asking questions. Just asking questions. Deebo Samuel, overrated, overpaid, or underused? Overrated, overpaid, or underused? I think the answer is maybe a little all of the three, but either way, one of those answers is correct, and that's a problem. Who's going to go ahead and get that guy involved? When you got a quarterback who can't get the ball to where it needs to be, I guess this is what you are. Frustrating. The 49ers are frustrating. They're the NFL equivalent of blue balls. They really are, Ray.
They are like nearly every other team in the conference. It's an unusually bad conference this year. And I'm not sure that the two best teams who are still... Well, let me finish my point first. That the Eagles and Giants aren't basically the 49ers with a softer schedule. The 49ers, but we knew this going in, so we shouldn't be acting surprised that this was a team that was going to be pretty close to 500 most of the year, and they were going to be up and they were going to be down. And it's because their offensive line wasn't good enough. There were still questions about their second. They are a team that has obvious strengths, no obvious weaknesses, but a lot of things that are just sort of league average. That's how you get to be 3-4. But I don't know that this is the game where you go, aha, this is what's wrong with them. Because I think even if they had played at their best and most creatively, I'm not sure that Kansas City loses that game. Because Kansas City looked pretty good in losing to Buffalo the week before. Because I think they're the two teams that are light years ahead of everybody else. They have the best players. They have the best coaches, probably. And so I don't know that yesterday is the way you evaluate the 49ers. I think the problem that they have is that they are a slightly better than average team. And that's what you're going to get all year long.
Yeah, maybe you're right, but I would say that what was on full display was just the same old, same old. I mean, the Niners are consistently underperforming in the same few areas each and every week. There's always a little bit of a special teams problem. Then there's always a little bit of that was a bad holding call or whatever on first down. I mean, this is from Kyle Shanahan post-game. This is from the Chiefs game, obviously. Why would we play any other post-game this week? But this could be from any game. I mean, this could be Kyle Shanahan after every single game the 49ers have played this year, wins included.
You know that's a good team. You know they're going to make some big plays, but I thought the most frustrating thing was the spots we hurt ourselves. You know, in that first half, some of the false starts that we had on
every
offense, lining up in the neutral zone on defense. For us to have that false start on the field goal, I was obviously so excited because they muffed the punt the next time. But for us to have a turnover there was a real big mistake. Ended up being all right when they missed that field goal. Talked about some of that stuff at halftime. We come out, give up a huge kick return, and then have a really stupid penalty to add 15 yards at the end of it. Those are the things that disappoint me the most.
So it's the same things every week that are disappointing Kyle the most. All those little things. And by the way, another way to say all those little things is called coaching. That's what coaching does, clears up all those little things. What Kyle really needs to say is what I'm disappointed in is in myself. I don't know if the team is tuning him out. I don't know if his message isn't getting through, but the things that they need to clean up, these little bitty things that follow them around week to week are following them around this week, and they'll probably rear their head again next week. But maybe the Rams are just bad enough to where you can overcome those little things and a bad team, and now you win. Hopefully they go into the bye week. I'm going to tell you right now, if this team isn't hitting on all pistons coming out of the bye week, just shame on them. Shall we take a few calls?
I would never, but you go ahead.
Let's do it. We're going to take some calls. This is Rich in Fremont. Rich, you're on 95.7 The Game. What do you got?
Hey, Damon. Hey, Ray. Hey, listen, guys, thanks for taking my call. You know, I really think what everybody's probably missing and why the Niners are playing the way they are, it's because the coaching staff just doesn't have this team properly conditioned. I mean, you look at them. In the first half, they're putting up decent numbers, they're scoring, and they're coming out the gate fast. But then the second half, they start to run out of gas, okay? They're not executing well, you know. They're not putting up the same amount of points they did in the first quarter. And to me, that just says that they're just not being properly conditioned to finish games. I also think that with Garoppolo, with him, he's just a quarterback that just doesn't find the right receivers when he executes the play. You know, he missed on Jeff Wilson Jr. You know, he's throwing passes to certain guys that are seemingly open, but he's got better choices on the other side of the field. He doesn't see that, and because he doesn't see that, they're not getting the best out of that offensive execution. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Rich. Look, I can't tell you what Jimmy does or doesn't see, but you know, there's never been a time where Jimmy was particularly accurate with the throws. He's always a little high. I mean, it's hospital balls left and right, or it's a little low. He's terrible throwing off his back foot. He is who he is. I mean, here's the thing, and you can't even get mad at it because they tried to replace him. They actively tried to get rid of him, but circumstances that we are all well documented brought him back, obviously. So this is the way you're rolling.
Yeah, I'm not buying the conditioning argument either. I think they're in perfectly good football shape. I think what Kyle Shanahan wants to do, and he did it in the first half, was control the ball and control the tempo. Well, if you can't hold the lead against a team like Kansas City, the tempo does you no good. I just don't think they are a team that is explosive enough to hang with a team like Kansas City. I think they are just flawed enough in enough places that they can't get into a shootout. They have to win 20-10.
No, it's got to be a perfect day. It's got to be a perfect day. They can only win under perfect conditions in which nothing ever went wrong for them. And that's not a contender, boys and girls. It's just not. It's not. I have something that's so overwhelming on Patrick Mahomes, I don't even want to give it to you right here.
No, go ahead.
So Mahomes, who again didn't even play great yesterday, just did what he needed to do, and threw for 400 whatever yards and was incredible. But the highest quarterback winning percentages, including playoffs, since 2019. So this is a minimum of 10 starts. So it's Patrick Mahomes, who is a 790 winner. Then it's Aaron Rodgers, who's 733. Then coming in at third place, it's Patrick Mahomes in games where he's trailing by more than double digits. Patrick Mahomes has a 706 winning percentage when he trails in a game by double digits. So Patrick Mahomes in a 10-point deficit is the third most successful quarterback in football. Then it's Tom Brady. So it's Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes in a 10-point hole, and Tom Brady. Those are the four best quarterbacks since 2019 in terms of winning percentage. That's remarkable. And that's not just quarterback play, obviously. That's a whole lot of coaching. But that's also
coaching and roster construction.
And it's tempo. It's knowing, hey, whatever we were doing is not working, so let's do something different now. We're going to go ahead and make everybody get off beat and play a little differently. And then I can't snap anymore with my left since the stroke. I can't. That's it. It's as good as I got. That's it. Yeah. I'm still Johnny on the spot over here.
See, that's roster construction, too.
That is.
You need a better left arm.
Better thumb, better... This finger's not working, Ray?
No, you could say it middle finger. That's the one that everybody snaps with.
Mike in Hayward. You're on 95.7 The Game, Mike.
Hey, you guys. So I have a couple of thoughts about the game. Speaking about tight ends, I was speaking to my buddy during the game. Kelce absolutely, offensively, is like the greatest tight end in the league, maybe in the history of the game. I also feel like Kittle, he can be at that level if they unleash him, give him the ball.
Well, they need a quarterback to get him the ball. I mean, that's it. That's why they drafted Trey Lance, because they think that he could get him the ball better than Garoppolo does.
His offensive ability. It almost reminds me of back when Harbaugh was coach, Vernon Davis. He was great, but they underutilized him. And I feel like right now the offense, they have so many weapons. Shanahan is underutilizing the people around him, and he has no ability to adjust in the second half. If we go into the second half at a deficit, game over. He doesn't know how to adjust.
He's never won a game in which his team is trailed by 4 points at the end of the third quarter. You need to know that.